Here in this video we are going to see what is filter method, how do we use it, and when should we use it. First point, what is filter method? So it is a method which calls upon an array. Second point is it calls a function for every elements of an array. Of the array. Third point is it return only that element which pass a certain condition. What it is? First of all, it is a method which calls upon an array. Second point is it calls a function for every element of an array. Third point, it returns that element which pass a certain condition. Let's see this. For example, this is an array. Array of numbers. Although in JavaScript we can keep numbers and strings together in an array. It does not matter. So here this is an array. How can we? So this was the what is filter method. Second point is how do we use it? We use it like this. Suppose that we want to filter the even numbers from this array. Suppose we want to filter the array numbers, even numbers from this number. So we can use array filter method. Even numbers. How can we use? Now we are looking at how can we use it. See, this is a array. So upon that we call the filter method. What it does, it calls a function for every element. It calls a function for every element. So here we need to pass that function. That function will take item, and what it does, it returns item. If the item modulo 2 is equal to 0, then this item will be returned. See, this is an ES6 arrow function syntax. What it's doing, this filter method will call a function, this function, for every element of this array. And here this highlighted line says that it will return only that item whose when it modulo 2 is equal to 0. This is how we define whether a number is even or odd. So every even number will be returned and stored here in even number. This resultant value will be an array. Let's print it and see. First of all, we are printing all numbers is Which one? This num. Second, we are going to see even numbers. Here, even numbers. Let's save it. Here, here we can see all numbers, the same this same data, and this is also an array which contains only the even numbers. See here, this even number value is an array, and it contains all the even numbers. Let's prove this function, this point. It calls a function for every elements of this array. How can we prove that? Let's write this same line in a different way, in a more with more explanation. Even numbers, since we are using this, we need to hide this. Num dot filter, it will take item, and let's print this console.log item is here item, and here we are checking return no, if item modular 2 is equal to 0, it's going to return that number, sorry, item. See, this is a function. What it's doing here, it's taking an argument which is item. What is item? Each time this single element will be item. Here what we have done, we have printed, right? We have printed the item, so it will print every numbers. This is how we can be sure that for every elements this function has been called. And here we have checked if that item modular 2 means when we divide that number, when we modular that number, whether the remainder is 0 or not. If it is 0, we are going to return it. If it is not, we are not going to return it. Let's save it and see the results. See here, its printing item is 12, 54, 78, 12, 14, basically every elements. See, as I said, it calls the function for every elements. It has called the functions, right, for every elements, but the resultant value is only the even numbers. Here we have defined it checks it whether the item is even or not. If it is even, then it's going to return. If it is not, then it's not going to return. That's why here this even number variable contains all the even numbers. What if we remove this and simply here remove this and simply return the number, return the item itself? What it's going to do? See, let's analyze how what it is doing. Firstly, as we know that for every element it will call this function, right? Here it's printing the item is 12, 54, 78, right? And here it is returning, simply returning without even checking what it is doing, or without even checking whether it is even or not. So the resultant value means this even number variable will contain all this elements. Let's see here, this number and this number is equal. So that's why we need to check whether the number is satisfying a condition or not. Here it is satisfying. Here it is satisfying. Here it is checking whether this number is even or odd. Suppose we want to let's take second examples. Suppose we want to extract the numbers which is greater than 10 from these numbers. Suppose we want to extract means store only those numbers which is greater than 10 from num array. The question is, we want to store all the numbers which is greater than 10 from this array. See here we are filtering, right? So when should we, here we discussed how do we use it. Here we discussed how do we use it. This is also example of how do we use it. Now we are going to see when should we use it. See, as the name suggests, filter means we are filtering the elements on the basis of some criteria. Here the criteria was whether the number is even or not. Here we are going to have the criteria whether the element is greater than 10 or not. Let's store the value in a variable which is greater than 10. Let's see. And always remember, it is not changing the original array. This num variable will not be changed. Here, this num variable will not be changed. The filter method only returns a array which is stored in another variable. Here it is stored in even number. Here it will stored in number greater than 10 variable. Always remember, filter method does not manipulate the original array. That's why after calling this filter method on num variable, we are again able to call here. So as we know, it will take this one. We can write this by this way, in this way as well. Like one, it will accept one variable. Now it will check if, what is our criteria? The criteria is the item should be greater than 10. If item is greater than 10, return it. Return the item. Otherwise, don't return it. Let's print it. Greater than 10. What is the variable? Here. This return value will be stored in this variable. Let's save it. See here, we can see greater than 10. All these value will be greater than 10. Here we have some value like 3, 4, 7, 6, 4, 2. Right? This value has been eliminated. Means this value has not been added in this variable. Only the value which is greater than 10 is in this variable. Suppose we want to a variable, a number, we want, let's take third example. Suppose we want to uh, what do we want? We want to have all the collection of numbers which is between 20 and 30 from this element, from this array. Like filter numbers filter the numbers should be in between 20 and 30. What should be the answer? The answer should be, is 12 greater than 30? No, it's not. Then it will not be included. Is 54 is between 20 and 30? No, it's not. Is 78 is between 20 and 30? No, it's not. Is 12? No, it's not. Is 43? No, it's not. Is 89? No, it's not. Is 43? No, it's not. Is 32 is between 20 and 30? No, it's not. Is 43 is between 20 and 30? No, it's not. Among these all elements, is there any element which is between 20 and 30? No, it's not. Then it will return the empty array. Let's implement this. Const between 20 and 30. Let's see, num dot filter. Let's use arrow function. Item should greater than 20 and item should less than 30. And let's print. Let me take it here. Console.log between 20 and 30. Let us see, between 20 and 30. Yes, see here the result is 0 because there is no any element which is between 20 and 30. Let's add some element like 21 here, like 29, the first one, like 22, the last one, like 27. Let's save it and see. See here we have all the elements which is between 20 and 30. So this is how we use filter in JavaScript. And when should we use it? The answer is when we want to uh, extract, not exactly extract, means when we want to have the all the elements which fulfill a certain criteria. Here the criteria was the item should be even. Here the criteria was the item should be greater than 10, and here the item criteria was the item should be between 20 and 30. And we have seen two methods of using it. Like here we have used the function itself, regular function. Here we have used arrow functions, and that two small arrow functions. So we can use any functions. Let's see third type of function, third type of its use. Suppose we want number which is odd. The variable name is odd. The point is we want to have all the numbers, all the elements from this array which is odd, right? So we are going to call filter method. And this time we are using a function find odd. let's define the find out function. Find out, what it's doing, it's taking an argument which is item. We can give any variable name here, it does not matter. If item is modular 2 is not equal to 0, then return item. Let's here print all odds are odd. How it is executing? See, here we have used filter method on this array. It will call this find odd method which has been defined here for every element of this array, right? And we are in this function, we are returning the elements if it is fulfilling this criteria. It checks whether it is odd or not. Let's save it and see the results. See here, all odds are this one. Here we have printed all the even numbers. Here we have printed all the odd numbers from this array. So this is all about filter method, and in real projects, when do we how do we use it? Sorry, we show how do we use it. Like in real projects, what are the scenarios where we used filter method? In real projects, what are the scenarios where we use filter method? The answer is suppose if there is an array and it contains the list of items. Suppose we are making to-do list. Suppose we are making to-do list like to do, and it's contain our to do like clean home, buy groceries, teach teach younger brother, and so on. Suppose this is a list of to do, right? And we completed something, some list like this one, and we want to remove this item from the to dos. How can we do that? Obviously we have to check whether this is the element we want to remove or not. Suppose we want to remove that. How can we do that? Let's see here in this example. Let's firstly print it console. Let me all to do are here to do itself. Suppose we want rest to do, like we want suppose we mark this as completed, so we want to remove this from the to do's, right? So we will what we will do, we will call a function, and that function will check whether the elements which we are want to remove is this one or not. If it is, then don't return it. If it is not, then return it. How can we do that? Let's call upon to do dot filter item and here we want to change if item is equal to what. When we call that function, we will pass a key. That key will decide whether that function is whether that item is this or not. So that key can be the index of this item, right? That key can be the index of that item, and right. So here, suppose that the key is index which is 1. This is at one position, and here we know that if we are using filter, then the callback function automatically calls index 1, index like 0 1 2 3, right? So here we are going to check, not we don't need this item, we can pass this like this because we need the index. Now what will happen? Every element will call along with that their index number, right? First 0, then say 1, then 2, then 3, and so on. Here we will check is index is not equal to 1, then return what we need item. That item we need item. Here what we are checking? We are checking. See, we know that this item we want to delete, and it is at index 1. So here we have called the filter method on to do by passing item and index as well. So each time its index will be passed automatically. Let's print it as well. Console.log item and index. Let's see what it will print. See here, clean home at index 0, buy at index 1, teach younger brother at index 2, and so on. And now here we are checking that is index is 1. If it is 1, then don't read if it is not 1, then return it. Means here clean home will return because its index is not 0. Second time this grocery item and index 1 will be passed, and here it will check is index is equal to 1. Yes, it is. Then this become false and it will not return. After that this will check and it will go true because this index is not 1. Then it will return. And let's print rest to do is our rest to do. See here we have the both two elements but not this one. This is the real scenario where we use. That's all for filter.